Great.
Hi there, I'm Steve Costello and I'm here with my amazing partner, Anne Bost. We're here today to follow on from last week in particular, but follow on about other things that we spoke about the week before as well. Last week, we talked about mindful breaks. What on earth are mindful breaks? Well, if you want to see that episode, look back on our YouTube channels and you will find it. So we're talking about whatever date it is today, the 14th, so around about the 7th of May, if you want to look about what we said about mindful breaks. So we're going to move on from that slightly today, and we're going to talk about finding a balance between work and rest. And I'm going to be a bit critical right now because some of us are not very good at finding balance between work and rest. How do you feel about that, Anne? What do you think?
Let's finding harmony between work and rest. I think that it's a hard thing for all people, for all businessmen and leaders, for all leaders, because when we talk about balancing work and rest, we believe that we have to take a break. And when we want to take a break, we refuse because we have to work. We have to work because we force ourselves to do the things. And that's it for today that we have to discuss, to meet this conversation and bring in the topic balancing work and rest from our perspective, from you, Steve, and me. And for me, the essence of finding harmony in work and rest lies in understanding the interconnectedness of our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It's all about recognizing our productivity and effectiveness and how are influenced by our ability to recharge and replenish our energy reserves. So what do you think about balancing work and rest? What for you? What do you have practical techniques? What do you see the thing that people it's hard for them to practice balancing work and rest? What is your secret?
I think there is no secret, not really. There's a load of things we can do, but it's not there. None of it is secret. The challenge is actually doing it. So here's a live example. And unfortunately, I've heard this one more than once, in other words, from different people.
Mm-hmm.
And the example is, what did you have for lunch today? Oh, I didn't. I was busy. Oh, I didn't have lunch today. I forgot. I kept working. So we both live in France. And one of the cool things about where I live down here, I live in the south, a little bit more south than Anne. And many businesses close at 12. I got caught out on Friday. I needed to buy something. And I arrived at the business at like 3 minutes to 12. And the guy said, if you can do it in 3 minutes, it's okay. And I said, oh, no, I can't. I need to ask some questions. So he said, I'm sorry, you'll have to come back at 2. So they took a break from 12 till 2 at that particular business. And that is a bit frustrating. It's like, oh no, I'm going to have to reschedule my day. I'm going to have to work out how I can be back at this place. But yeah, those guys who work at that business took a break from 12 till 2. So they had their break. In other words, it's scheduled. We're not very good at scheduling breaks. So if I say to people, do you take a break during the morning before lunchtime? Well, in theory, but usually the phone rings or something happens, and no, I don't get the break. What about in the afternoon? Oh, it's the same. I might grab a coffee, but keep working. So that, in other words, they're not really taking a break.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of going through the motions, but not actually doing it. And because they're not actually doing it, they're feeling more stressed than perhaps they ought to. They're not stopping just to relax, just for a few moments.
Mm.
Now, there's loads of scientific evidence relating to the field of psychology, because that's where I come from. There's loads of evidence about the physical and the psychological value of taking breaks. Notice I said physical and psychological, because breaks help the body and they help the mind as well.
Mm.
So how about this as a crazy idea? At the beginning of each workday, take the diary, use paper or electronic, doesn't matter which, and make an appointment at 10 o'clock in the morning, for example. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. Make another appointment at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to take a 30-minute break and eat some lunch. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to take a 5-minute break to leave the office, go outside, grab a coffee maybe on the way out, and I'm going to take a physical break. I'm not at my desk. I'm not available. I think Google is a brilliant electronic calendar. For me in particular. Why? Because if I schedule a break, nobody can book an appointment. So my break is my break. Now, I know I might have labored on that subject a little bit, but it is that important. Taking a break is an element of self-care.
Mm.
And self-care is crucial, isn't it?
Yeah. Self-care. Make self-care is a non-negotiable part of your daily routine by prioritizing activities that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. This could include exercise, meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, or engaging in hobbies that bring you joy and relaxation. It's we all have something that we love to do. And even if it's just for 5 minutes for break, you can take a book, you can have a walk in the nature, in the forest, in a park. It's it's not difficult, but I think that we have to establish boundaries, and boundaries between work and personal time to prevent the burnout and maintain an healthy work-life balance. But for me, in my work, I believe every day, and I found that conscious breathing plays a pivotal role in this process, because our breath serves as a bridge between the external demands of work and the internal landscapes of our thoughts and emotions. And by cultivating awareness of our breath, we can tap into a sense of inner calm, clarity, even amidst the busiest of days. But beyond the practice of conscious breathing and mindfulness, I believe that finding balance is also about honoring our individual needs and priorities. It's all about setting boundaries, saying no when it's necessary. Because no, it's very simple to say no. You can refuse to do something sometimes just for you. It's not selfish, it's not ego to accept that you have to say no. And also prioritizing the self-care without guilt or shame. That's very important, because I hear a lot of my clients sometimes when they take a break, they take times for themselves, for self-care. They believe that they don't deserve that moment. So they force themselves, but they don't accept the fact that it's normal to take some times for self-care. But you need to take self-care. Self-care is very important as self-love. Self-love for me is self-care. If you love yourself, you take care of you. That's my thoughts today that I want to share with you, James.
Yeah, I think those thoughts are brilliant. Wonderful. And a couple of things came up toward the, well, particularly toward the end of what you just said, Anne. I've said this a million times, and other people say the same thing, the same message. Self-care is not selfish. We're brought up, many of us are brought up to believe in this thing that being selfish is a bad thing. It's not good to be selfish. You hear small children being told, don't be so selfish, share that. Don't be so selfish, don't do this. But self-care isn't a selfish act. It's an important act. It does all kinds of amazing things. It recharges us. It gives us fuel for the next things we have to do. And it looks after the people around us as well, because if we're looking after ourselves, then we're going to be able to look after the people around us who may need some support and a little bit of guidance or a hug even. Sometimes I remember one particular situation with a friend. She's what I call a hugger. She loves to give hugs. And one day, no hug came. I thought, oh dear, something's not good. Something's wrong. And I looked at her and her shoulders were down. She just didn't look her normal self. And she'd been working so hard. She'd exhausted herself. She hadn't burned out, but she pushed herself so hard that she couldn't see the world around her. And she forgot to do what she loved so much, giving hugs. So we had to refine, we called it, let's find the hug. So we talked about it. That wasn't a client, that was a friend. You know, so we need to be able to help our friends as much as we help ourselves. And we can only do that if we care for ourselves. What good am I if I'm exhausted? What good am I if I'm so stressed I can't help the people around me? There's a lot of stress in my private world at the moment. I've got to look after me so that I can help look after the people who are suffering. It's not me that's suffering the stress directly, but indirectly I soak it all up. We talked about kind of being a sponge, you know, so we've got to be able to look after ourselves to do that. Think about, there's a huge debate in psychology, and it's a debate around striving. We're always striving, pushing to achieve, pushing to score, pushing to get a promotion, pushing to get a new job, pushing to get a bigger, better house, a faster car. Striving, striving, striving. There's a huge debate around about this. We can't cover this now. But what happens when we're striving? We lose self-care because we're too busy focused on achieving something else. So self-care gets pushed to one side and we forget to go back there. So we don't want to be doing that. And another thing is that we do, and it kind of relates to striving, is that we try to do a lot in one hit. So we've got a task, and let's say we could possibly break it down into 10 small tasks, just to keep things simple. But we don't do that. We look at the task and we go for the end. So we try and push through to get the task complete. But instead, we could have made the task 10 small parts. Done number one, tick. Number two, tick. And we're feeling good because we're moving forward. We're ticking off the small tasks. And sometimes we forget about that. So let's not forget about the small stuff, because the small stuff makes a big difference. And I'm just thinking about activities. You mentioned this as well, Anne. Activities that recharge, that make you feel great, that make you feel enthusiastic, that make you feel happy, that make you want to laugh, smile, or whatever. Somebody said to me, it had been raining very hard for 2 or 3 days, about 2 weeks ago. The mountain bike trails that I love to ride in this area, when it's been raining, they go very red because of the earth underneath. But that very red earth forms like heavy clay on the bike. It makes the bike really hard to ride. It makes it really challenging. It makes me fall off more times than I'm going to admit here and now. But you know what? It's still fun. It still recharges me. It's still a great, fun challenge. And it's a fantastic release from all the stuff around. Now, I'm not saying get on a mountain bike on a rainy day and fall off or whatever. I'm not saying that. But do what makes you smile. Find ways. Now, Anne and I can, for sure, we can help with that. We know a lot of stuff. We've worked with people for a long time. Anne is an expert when it comes to breathing, but it's not as simple as that.
No, no, it's not. It's not as it's not. And I am a breathing behavior specialist, but also a life strategist, because I think that we need different things to bring more well-being and more effective way to. But in that, in my work with the power of breathe, it can be transformative in our quest for balance and harmony, and I believe on that. And I cultivating awareness of our breathing patterns, we can learn to regulate our nervous system, calm our mind, and find peace. And imagine a moment of stress, of overwhelmed, and you inhale deeply through your nose, and you feel the cool air fill your lungs. And you exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing tension and anxiety with each breath. And you repeat this process, allowing each breath to bring you back to the present moment, where clarity and calm await. And that moment, that practice is very simple. It takes 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It permits to recalibrate our internal rhythm, restoring balance, equilibrium in our lives. So, Steve, I will invite our audience to take a moment right now, to practice a short exercise. Donc, I invite you, all of us, to take a moment to close your eyes and tune into your breath. And just be an observer. Notice your gentle rise and fall of your chest, the rhythm of your inhale and of your exhale. With each breath, feel yourself sinking deeper into a state of calm and presence. Repeat this process and allowing each breath to bring you back to the present moment. And when you are ready, open your eyes and feel how do you feel right now? The calm here. Change things. Put your comments if you practice with us this exercise, this short exercise. We want to know if you try this exercise with us and how do you feel right now? I invite you to practice this short exercise or other exercise that we share with Steve. We bring all practice, all insight for you, for your daily life, as simple as we can. Hey, Steve.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Something simple that I notice, I can feel the chair that I'm sitting on. I don't mean I'm aware that I'm sat down. I can feel the chair. I can feel it down my back and my thighs and to just above my knees, because that's where the chair ends. I can feel it perfectly. It's comfortable, right? But I notice it. How often do we not notice that chair? How often do we get so soaked up in all the stressors around us that we forget that there's a chair, and the chair is there to help us? You know, in a sense, it helps us to feel grounded. So that breathing exercise brings us back to that sensation, which is a really important sensation of being grounded. And it brings us into this moment, this precise moment. Because one of the things I discover too often with my clients is that they're living outside of the moment. They may be a little bit in the past, a little bit in the future, sometimes far in the past, far in the future, but they're not in this particular moment where they need to be, because it's in this moment where we can change, we can alter, we can adapt, we can do all kinds of wonderful things. So some people need support. Some people can't ground themselves in the moment because they've gone too far. They've gone too far at not caring for themselves. And there's no blame put on those people. Absolutely, there is not. But one of my jobs is supporting people who need the support because they can't get back to that beautiful grounded place. It's almost like they're stuck in space and they're floating around, and they need to be brought back to this place. So if you feel that you need support, if you find it difficult, you can't take care of yourself, self-care is kind of an alien concept. For some people it is, that tasks of feeling or becoming overwhelming, simple tasks, then let's just have a conversation. And it costs nothing to ask a question, so please don't hesitate. Use the contact details, phone numbers, WhatsApp numbers, email addresses, Facebook links, whatever is best for you. Use that method of communication. Ask Anne or myself questions. You'll always get an answer. And it costs nothing to ask a question, just a little bit of time. Anne, would you like to finish?
Yes, of course. It costs nothing to ask a question, but I know that it's difficult for a lot of people to ask a question and to ask for support. But as Steve said, feel free to put a comment and to send a message, because we all need help. We all need support. And it's important for me to tell that me, Steve, and a lot of workers in the world practice this work-life balance. It's a work for every day. You have to work on it every day. It's not a thing that you do once. You do every day, and you have to think about that. So thank you, Steve, for joining me and for the audience for this insightful conversation. And as you say, if you found this strategy is helpful, don't hesitate to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation and support each other as we strive for balance and well-being in our lives. And until next time, take care and be well and breathe love and free.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you,
Take
Steve.
care, everybody. See you again really soon. Bye for now.